Hi guys, welcome back to Style with Substance and welcome to another Sunday video. I thought I would strip it back and make it really chilled out this Sunday, and that is why I have a cup of tea in hand, and this is a new mug. I got it from New Look, and I'm just drinking some green tea, which has now gone cold. But I thought I would talk to you guys today about some of the books that have changed my life, and for me what I feel are the benefits of reading and the change in my life that I've seen since I started reading more proactively. So if you like the sound of that and you wanted kind of a long, really chilled out, chatty Sunday video, then hopefully you're going to love this one. I thought I should also mention, just because somebody might ask, on my lips I am wearing the Lottie London Slutty All Day liquid lipstick. Looks like this. I unboxed it in my last video and it is in the shade TBT. Sorry, I just shifted the chair down. So anyway, today we're talking about books, reading, the benefits of reading, and some of the books that have changed my life. Now I don't have them all here in physical form because a lot of them were ebooks or audiobooks, but I'm going to talk you through the ones that I feel like have made a real big impact in my life. The first one being Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Now this was the first book that I read as a young adult, and I think I actually read Rich Dad, Poor Dad for teens. It was given to me. If you can hear screaming in the background, by the way, that is the neighbours. They've got some kids over and they're playing in the back garden, so apologies, but kids will be kids. But yes, this is the first book that I read as a young adult. My mum bought it for me and it was the teens version, so a lot more relatable. This one is, I think I was about 14, 15 when I read it, and I think that was the first book that, one, got me into reading, and two, got me really into wanting to find out more about property. And I think at that stage in my life it was really about wanting to own my own home, basically. So it was more like, from a residential standpoint, I wanted to be a homeowner rather than rent. And that was the book that kind of really created the appetite in terms of reading for me. And I think my mum knew very much what she was doing when she gave me that book, because she kind of planted a seed. And that seed was that I realised that as much as you know, we came from kind of a very humble background. There were 4 kids. I grew up in a family of 4 kids, and you know, we were never rich or well off or anything like that. But I think what that book did for me was that it made me realise that it doesn't matter where you come from, or you know, what kind of family you were born into, or what kind of beginnings you had in life, or what kind of struggles you faced, that with books you have access to knowledge from some of the most powerful and successful minds in the world, and you can very much change the course of your future by, you know, really going out there and seeking knowledge, whether it's through reading a book, listening to a really powerful audio, going to a seminar. And I was at that point, I think I was a changed person. I think I had a library membership at the time, but then I just started going to the library very regularly, and oh my gosh, these girls. Anyway, I just started going to the library really often, taking out loads of books, reading in my spare time, and that was when I started to see a change in my life. Now at the time I was studying, I was still a student, so a lot of the books that I read were for educational purposes, but once you know, once I'd kind of finished homework and assignments and things like that, I was reading just for recreational purposes. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad was a really weird first book to get into, and I definitely read lots of fiction before that, but this was the first book where I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to take reading seriously, because I realised you can absolutely change your life through reading. So this book was what started it all for me, I think. This is the book that changed my mindset towards the kind of life that I wanted to live in my adulthood. It changed my mind towards how people, you know, how to create long-term wealth and how to make your money work for you. Like it just taught me a lot of life lessons. So if you have, if you're watching this and you are interested in personal finance or property investment or just personal development, then I would absolutely recommend this. If you have young kids, there is a Rich Dad Poor Dad for teens, and there's a whole series of these books, so I would absolutely recommend that you give a copy to your friends and ambitious young minds. Like, this book changed everything for me, so I owe a lot of where I am today to, well, obviously my parents, God, but this book is very much on that list. So I think at that point it's kind of important to tell you a bit about what happened next. So obviously I then kind of went on to go through the education system, and I went to university and graduated with a 2-1 in business management, specialising in marketing. I got a job soon after I got out of uni. It wasn't specifically marketing, but it was very marketing and sales focused, but it was in the education sector. Didn't do it for long because it wasn't really what I wanted to do, and then eventually I got a job in a marketing agency. And at that point in time, I think I was I was there for about just under 2 years, and I kind of, I had a lot of coming of age moments in that company. I was working with my best friend Karen. I made some really good friendships, started some relationships, had some really bad breakups there. But I think I very much grew into the person that I am today, or the growth process definitely started there. So I think just kind of after some really kind of big, like, hard times for me, challenging from a mental standpoint, I just wanted to see a change in my life, basically. And my mum has always been into reading books, and I'm so thankful for that, because I think she has always pointed me in that direction by sort of handing me a book and kind of being like, see how you get on with that, knowing in her mind exactly what it's going to do for me, and it being exactly what I need to see and read at the time. So that book, ladies and gents, was this book right here. It's called The Compound Effect, and it's by Darren Hardy. So at the time I was very much, I was a classic sort of early 20s girl. I would kind of work during the week. On the weekends I would go out loads, sleep in really late into the middle of the afternoon. Not gonna lie, I still have those days, but I would basically waste away my weekends not doing anything particularly productive or life-changing. And I knew I wanted to see a change, and I knew I was just compensating for the fact that there was something missing. There was like an emptiness in my life that I couldn't necessarily fill. And I was just kind of going out and just having fun and just not doing much of anything, really. I had a job, so I wasn't like a complete, complete useless individual, but I didn't feel like I was adding much or bringing much, if you know what I mean. So she gave me this book, and I read it cover to cover in a very short space of time, and I was like, this is why I love reading, and this kind of reignited my love for reading all over again. So the book is basically about habits, and how, no matter how small or minute bad habit or a good habit might seem at the time of doing it, compounded over time, like over years and years and years, how big an impact it can make in your life. And this book really helped me to really start tracking my behaviours, keeping an eye on what I was doing, good things, bad things, and really starting to get myself into check. And I would say that the one habit I developed as a result of reading this book was reading more. And I always, after reading this book, I always knew that if I'm going through one of those phases in my life where I'm feeling uninspired or just kind of empty or low or down, that reading could absolutely take me out of that headspace and give me the motivation I need to either change my environment or change my internal energy or how I'm feeling, and just put me back on the right path. And this book was great. And this book is actually a book that I always go back and read at least once a year, because it's kind of, you're always going to be trying to develop new habits or kick old ones, and this book is so good for that. And if you stick with it, it kind of talks about how long it takes to form a habit and what things you should do to keep track of a habit. And if you stick with it, you will notice some really big changes in your life, actually immediately. And as much as some of the bigger changes you want to make, you might see the results more long term, just keeping an eye on what you're doing on a daily basis is kind of really where I think this book really stands out for me. So this book kind of reignited my love for reading, and therefore reading became a positive habit that I developed on a consistent basis after reading this book. So really love this book. Darren Hardy is a great author because he's like, it's no bullshit basically. He kind of spells everything out and says it as it is, and he makes it really simple for you to pick up things and do them in your everyday life. Now, I am a serial reader, so I do like to read, and there are often times where I'm not so keen on taking action. I just want it to all be in the mind. But what Darren Hardy's really good at is making the action that you need to take really simple. So it's not like you have to go and like do some big like life transformation and organize this and that. It's really simple steps. And this book, for anything that you're trying to change in your life, is key. So I would absolutely recommend this book as one that changed my life for the better. So that was back in, I'm going to say 2012, 2013. And then a more recent discovery is this one. So I'm going through all the physical books first, but there are some others that I'm going to mention also. But this book is called The Miracle Morning: 6 Habits That Will Transform Your Life Before 8 AM. And this is by Hal Elrod. Now, I had obviously read The Compound Effect, and I'd obviously understood the importance of habits. But as I started to get into the personal development space and sort of more motivational content, I realised that habits was a really big topic. And I started to watch loads of videos on YouTube, and a lot of them were titled around habits and the habits of successful people, and how habits can completely change the course of your life. And in fact, how if you want to see where your life is headed, but you just basically look at the things that you do on a day-to-day basis. And I have not always been a morning person. As I mentioned before, like, I love sleeping in. You know, I could sleep until like 3 PM in the afternoon. And don't get me wrong, it's not always uninterrupted, but I can just keep going back to sleep. What's helped me in my adult age is the later I sleep in, the weirder my dreams get. So I always have a point of like, okay, you need to get up now. Don't want to be dreaming about that anymore. But I've not always been a morning person, and therefore a lot of the books I read are geared towards kind of giving me that motivation to get up as early as I can, and making the most of the day. And when you're younger, I would definitely say, for all of the young folks watching, it is not a problem to, unless you're a morning person, it's definitely really difficult to get up early, and you don't really see the whole annoyance behind like sleeping in and wasting the day. But the older I've got, the more I've realised that the later I sleep in, the less I'm getting out of the day, and that really kind of like it annoys me, because I feel like I'm wasting an opportunity for something to happen or to get some stuff done. And I remember a colleague talking about this when I was in my first job, the digital marketing agency, and she was kind of saying, oh, you know, when I sleep in past 12, I really feel like I've wasted the day and blah, 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 blah. These times I was sleeping in until about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was like, when I sleep in at past 12, I feel like friggin' amazing. But actually now that's completely changed, partially because of reading this book. And what this book made me realise is that there's a certain, I call it the golden hour, and there's a certain period of time in the morning where my brain is incredibly sharp and really focused. And it's kind of, I would say it's between sort of 4:30 to 6:30 AM. I have a razor sharp focus and a peace and a calmness that I feel, and that is the best time to get things done during the day, for me anyway. There are other times where you have to get stuff done, like in the evenings after work and stuff like that, but for me that period of time during the day is fantastic. I remember when I was really kind of, and I still am, trying to grow my YouTube channel, I was watching a lot of videos that were saying, go to work on yourself first before you go to work on your day job. And that really stuck with me, because if you don't invest in yourself first and you start the day by going and investing in somebody else's dream, you're never going to get the most out of life in any sense, really. And so whether that's exercising or reading a book or writing in a journal or editing a video or typing up some stuff, if you're writing a book or whatever, but that portion of time before you go to work in the morning is the best time to really sow into your life. And that is why this book is like particularly fantastic for me. It's called The Miracle Morning Routine, and it's all about things that you can do in that golden hour, whether it's before 8 a.m, before 6 a.m, before 7 a.m, in the morning, that can change the way that you live your life, basically. And this book really made me realise that. And this is why I went for a period of time where I was waking up at 5 a.m. every morning, just grinding on my own goals and focusing on myself. Whether a lot of it was just spent, you know, being in gratitude, writing down things I was grateful for, typing up pages of my book, which I will also link down below, and I'm going to get to that shortly. But I would say that the morning, it really is a miracle time, and I think also for spending time with God, or you know, if you're religious or if you're spiritual, spending time with a higher power in the morning is also a fantastic way of starting the day. And I would say that this book was a great follow-up to The Compound Effect in terms of habits, but specifically focused towards the morning and seeing miraculous results. The other thing I noticed, because at the time I was working for a Big Four accountancy firm when I was reading this book, so that was like I'd say the beginning of 2016. Was it the beginning of 2016? Yes, it was. I also found that when I was waking up really early and I was getting into work really early, I was so much more, some of the ideas that I was coming up with and some of the suggestions that I would bring to the table were just so, like, I was just feeling really inspired, and everything that I would do during the working day would see an improvement because of the fact that I had started by working on myself and centering myself in the morning, then coming to work and bringing that productive energy and that inspiration and all those ideas. Like, I noticed an improvement in my career, and I would definitely put that down to the fact that my brain was operating at an optimum level. I haven't started reading it yet. I've listened to bits of the audio, but the book by Robert Greene called Mastery talks about that kind of, it's like a zone, or it's like a headspace or a focus that you get into where you're producing or you're creating at the highest level possible, and how we can't always access that. But it often comes at times where you're under pressure, or you're just feeling really focused, or you're just in like a trance. I feel like the Miracle Morning Routine book helped me to get into or even close to that frame of mind, and therefore I was just producing at my highest rate, and it would spill out into other areas of my life throughout the day. So that book really switched it up for me. Now, another book that I bang on about so much, and you guys have probably heard, you know, endless accounts of me raving about this book, is The Secret. And I'm just going to pop a picture there so you guys can see what the cover looks like. But I read that, was it a physical copy first? I think I read the ebook version first, and that book really changed my life in the sense that it introduced me to the law of attraction. Now, I have a whole playlist on the law of attraction and many videos on it, so I'm not going to go into loads of detail about it. I will just link to that playlist below, or if you go to my channel homepage actually and you go into the playlist section, you'll find that there. But that introduced me to the law of attraction and all of the concepts that sort of follow on from that. So gratitude, belief, and inspired action, and all of the things that you have to do, or that you can do, to invite great things into your life. So The Secret was one of my most memorable books in terms of changing my life, because my life changed in a big way right after reading that book. So I remember I had just moved into my first home with Mr. Man, and you know, there was, you know, I had certain life goals, and then, you know, as a young woman, you kind of, there's certain things that you want to achieve in life, and certain milestones that you want to hit. But after reading The Secret and all of the books in the series, like The Hero, The Magic, The Power, etc., some really big things happened for me. So I got engaged, had my traditional wedding back home in Uganda. We moved into this house. I got my dream job at a firm that I'd always wanted to work at. I got my dream car shortly after that, and those are, while those are like kind of materialistic things almost, they just showed me the possibility of being able to essentially attract the things, the good things into your life that you have always wanted by just changing the way you think. And as much as I'd been a reader, and as much as I'd been a very hard worker, up until that point there were certain things that I didn't believe were possible for me in life. And I also hit like a really big milestone on my YouTube channel, and I just up until that point I was just like, I just thought, you know, my life will be as good as the level of hard work I put in. But at the same time, I was like, but I think that can only get me so far. And I thought that certain things were out of my reach, like a certain audience size was out of my reach. A certain income was out of my reach. Being self-employed was out of my reach. Until, you know, the law of attraction went right into action and showed me that actually your mind is a powerful, powerful tool. And I'm starting to learn that a lot, and I'm starting to understand that the mind can absolutely create and bring into reality the things that we put into it and we feed it with. And, you know, through prayer and through gratitude and through, you know, really sort of hard work and also doing good things in life, you can experience some remarkable changes. So I would say The Secret is the book that kind of wraps it all up in terms of the story. Yeah, I would say those are the books that have changed my life. In terms of the benefits of reading, there are some notable ones for me, and I don't know if this happens the same for everyone, but I would definitely say that when I'm reading, it's almost like my brain kind of switches onto a higher plane of thinking. And annoyingly enough, as much as I want to be focused on the book that I'm reading and the pages and the word and the message that I'm getting from it, I find a lot of my ideas come to me while I'm reading. And whether that's video ideas, ideas around things to switch up something in my life, ideas around how to deal with a particular challenge or a problem. And those, a lot of the time, are completely unrelated to what I'm reading, but they just come to me while I'm reading. So I always find that while I'm reading, I have to have a notebook or my phone by my side and be able to quickly scribble down or jot down what I've thought so I can get to it at a later stage. So reading not only inspires me in terms of the message that I'm getting from the book, but I also, as a byproduct, I'm coming up with loads of ideas for loads of other things in my life that I would have never been able to come about by doing anything else. So often it's random things like an idea for a video, or an idea to deal with a problem that I might be having, or an idea of something that I need to do, or something that I've just remembered, or really random stuff, but really great stuff. So if you're like me and if you want to be inspired, I would definitely recommend just picking up a book, whatever the book is about. Just read, because I think it just switches your brain into a whole new gear, and I'm sure there's some science behind this and some studies around this, but I've definitely seen that. In terms of other benefits, knowledge, like I've learned about so many other elements of psychology and things that I'm interested in just through reading books. And these are personal development books, so they're not necessarily psychology focused, but I've absolutely gained a lot more knowledge about how the human mind and how humans and so many other things that I would never have learned in school that I found incredibly useful in my everyday life. I would also say the benefit of reading is it makes me feel grounded and like I don't know what the best word to describe it is, but I feel centered almost. I feel like I'm doing right in life. So I don't know, it just improves my mood, but not so much my mood, but it just makes me feel like I'm on the right track, basically. So that's kind of how I always get myself back into a good headspace. I would say putting myself in a good headspace I get from reading. And inspiration, to be honest. I always feel inspired by, especially when I'm reading about other people's stories. I just feel like all things are possible, so it helps with my faith and my belief in myself and in life and in the situations that I will come across and how I'll be able to overcome them. So I'd say there's many benefits of reading, but I would say that if you went through the education system and you feel like you learn all of these concepts and these things that you're never going to use in your everyday life, try reading a book that you're just interested in. Try reading a piece of fiction or non-fiction or anything, and you'll realise that actually you can learn so much from reading a book, and you can gain so much from the pages of a great author that nothing in life can teach you in that way. So yeah, those are the books that have changed my life. I thought I'd also mention, because you'll probably see in the thumbnail, this book that I've seen everywhere on Instagram, and that's probably a lot to do with the fact that it was featured in Lydia Elise Millen's one of her most recent videos. It is a book by Maria, no, I don't know how to pronounce it, Hazistafani? Maria Hazistafani? Anyway, she's the founder and CEO of Rodial, skincare brand, and I think they do makeup as well. And it's called How to Be an Overnight Success, Making It in Business. Now, I think the reason why a lot of people are Instagramming it is because it is very Instagrammable, first of all. And secondly, because the title is very provocatively titled, and it is very much not about being an overnight success. So I haven't actually read this yet, but I purchased it as soon as I saw it in that video. And basically, I will now be moving on to this after I finish my current read, which is Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. So I just thought I'd pop it in there just so that this video is also updating you guys on what new books I have purchased recently. The other book I've just purchased is called Awaken the Giant Within, also by Tony Robbins. And yeah, there's probably a lot more to come. I think I need to definitely get through my shelf before I even start on any new books. But yes, I will keep you guys posted on that. If you want to find out what I'm currently reading or what new books I have in, you definitely want to come follow me on Instagram for my stories, and also on Snapchat. Sometimes I tweet about it on Twitter, and anything that gets posted on my Instagram will also go through to my Facebook page. So all will be linked in the description box below. But otherwise, I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it's been so long. It's definitely been one of those just sit down chitty chatty Sunday videos. I just wanted something really relaxed. The weather's not amazing outside, so I wasn't feeling incredibly energetic. So yeah, I just wanted to film something really relaxed and really easy. So hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you want to let me know what some of the books that have changed your life are, please comment in the description box below and we can share with everyone. And subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I upload, well, now I'm getting back to 3 videos a week and see how we go. So it's going to be a Sunday upload, a Tuesday upload and a Thursday upload. So if you come back on Tuesday, there will be another video and it's going to be all about home decor. So make sure that you're subscribed and you turn on the notifications so you don't miss when that goes live. And yeah, I don't know what Thursday's video will be, so you'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm trying to upload at 8 PM most days, so hopefully you guys are free and you're around. And that's 8 PM UK time. So if you are bedding down and getting ready for a new week, I feel like that's like the optimum time for you guys to catch up. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in Tuesday's video at 8 PM. Bye!